And when it's recording, what will be recorded is just the white screen, my computer screen, with any sound laid over the top of it. If you're worried, if you need to say something and you're worried about, you don't want to be caught on the recording, let me know and I can pause the recording for us so that you don't have to see that, or so that you don't have to be on the recording. So anyway, the first thing I want to do is I want to go through the administrative stuff. Now, for any of you, are any of you taking this as your first Nicolet class? Show of hands. Okay, a couple of you. Have you been on the Nicolet website yet? Okay. And so you've got your passwords and everything all figured out, so you're good to go. Okay. For this class, I will try to communicate with you through whatever email you prefer. How many of you prefer to use your WITC email? Okay, so pretty much everybody's working on your Nicolet email. So I will make sure I communicate with you through your Nicolet email. I try to check my Nicolet email at least twice a week. It's not quite as regular as my other one. So I will make sure I give you both so that you can use those. So anyway, we'll go to my Nicolet. I've got my username and password already in. And we're going to go to Blackboard. This class does not require necessarily the use of Blackboard, but it'll make your life a lot easier if you use it. There's a lot of useful stuff out here. First of all, there will be messages sent out, announcements sent out. Like I did send out an announcement for classrooms today, but it looks like they changed the one in Ashland for us anyway, just because they had the class size wrong, the number of enrollees wrong up there, but that's okay. We're all set. I will also try to post regular announcements, not necessarily weekly, but just to give you an idea of how to update your grade. I did post an introductory announcement out there as well, letting you know where things are going to be. We have Syllabus is going to be, one of our buttons here is for Syllabus. That's going to contain my contact information, the syllabus, and all the other administrative stuff. Course documents is going to contain all of the class materials, the learning materials. My grades will be your grade book, and then of course tools. Probably the easiest way to contact me or any of your classmates is to go to course tools and click on email. So they'll send me a message there. You're here so we don't have to go over the blue jeans. MyMathLab is important for this course. Shut off my edit here so I can highlight stuff. So the homework for this course is done in MyMathLab. So if you go to the website, mymathlab.com, I'll actually go to that one right now. You're going to be given some options. Now, when you first go in, you have to register. So you see it says register now. You're going to click on student. It just gives you a list of the things you need to have in order to register. So you're just going to go ahead and click OK, register now. So the first thing you need is the course ID. That's the ID that tells them which course you're in. That directs them to my course. You'll see here I have that listed. It is HOFF 56824. So that is what you would enter for the course ID. HOFF 56824. And that is in the course announcement if you didn't get that down. Now, if you've had other courses, if you took the college or the intermediate algebra course, or maybe a WITC math with business applications course or pre-algebra course, you might already have a MyMathLab account, so you could just log in here and go with it. Otherwise, most of you, I'm assuming, will have to create an account, so you'll click on Create over here. And this is where you put in your email, your password, and whatever. Highly suggest that you use your email for your username as well. That just avoids a lot of mistakes. Whatever you use for your username and password, make sure you write it down. Every so often we have somebody that registers and then they think they remember their password and they don't. And it can be quite a hassle to get that reset for you. Once you enter all your information in there, you'll hit create an account and it's going to take you to a page I don't want to get that put a lot of information in here right now, but the next page then requires a code. Inside your book, there should be a card that says MyMathLab, and it should have like a little scratch off code on it. That is the code you're going to need to get into MyMathLab then. If you bought a used textbook, the bad news is that you're going to have to use a credit card or some other means to purchase access to MyMathLab. If you bought a new textbook, it comes with it. Used textbooks, it has to be purchased separately. So then from then on, every time you go to MyMathLab, you're just going to click on sign in, and you'll put in your username and password, and it'll take you into MyMathLab. Well, we're here, we just will go on in. Of course, you'll click on, you'll only have one course here most likely, Algebra for Calculus. And it'll take you to a home page like this. This home page, they call it the dashboard, will list current assignments and upcoming assignments. The best way to find your assignments, you can click on homework. You can see every homework assignment for the semester is listed here. There are, well, not everyone for the semester, up through week 10 is listed so far. I haven't got the rest of them completed yet. So you can, and of course the due date for each homework assignment is listed here as well. So you can work ahead on homework as far as you want to. I do suggest you don't get too far ahead, just because the quizzes are tied to the homework. So you don't want to get to a point where you go to take a quiz and you realize you did the homework so long ago that you don't remember how to do it. Quizzes and tests, if you click there, there's nothing listed. This down here, what you see here, these are practice quizzes and practice tests that are standard in MyMathLab. Those are not the quizzes and tests for this class. The reason that there's nothing here is your quizzes are generally going to be open for like a 2-day period. So your first quiz won't be due until next Friday. It won't be open until next week, Tuesday or Wednesday. And here I can do this. I'll take you to the assignment manager so we can see a list of all the assignments. So you can see the first homework, 1A, is the one that will be assigned today, due for next week on Monday. I usually set the due date for the day after class, so that if you have questions on the homework, you have time to ask them in class and then finish it up. It's best if you have it done before class next Monday, but there is a day's grace period there for you to finish that up if you need to. Then there'll be homework 1B, which will be the homework on Monday's class that'll be due for Wednesday. Again, a day's grace period, so you can complete that up till Thursday if you need to. And then there's a quiz that's on the combination of the material on those two homework assignments. That quiz has a hard deadline of the 13th, which is next Friday. It will open on the 10th, so that would be next Tuesday it'll open. So you have about a 2.5-day window to complete those, actually a 3-day window to complete those quizzes. As we go down through here, test 1 review, I have extra credit built into the course for you. Each test has a review. If you complete those reviews in MyMathLab, you do get extra credit. The tests themselves are paper and pencil and are done in class. So those will be on location in class for you. But you do have that review that's extra credit. And again, I've only made it up to test 2 as far as getting my assignment set up in here. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks, I'll have the rest of them set up. Okay, any questions on MyMathLab? One thing you will notice when you go to do an assignment, I'm just going to go ahead and open that. Won't let me do it from there. I'll go back here to the main menu and go to homework. I'm just going to open one of the homework questions here. In the homework, as you're working on a question, if you're stumped, you will see up here there's a thing that says question help. If you click on that, it usually gives you several options. One is textbook. If you click on that, it'll actually open up a virtual image of the page in the textbook that covers that topic. Sometimes it takes a while to load, like this one is now. And you can actually see up top that's saying page 106. That would actually be the page in the textbook that covers this topic. So that's the section in the book that covers this. That's also a good way if you want to look in the book, just look in the book to figure out what page it's on that comes to that page. Also, by the way, if you want to figure out where this is in the book, if you look at the top over here, it says 1.2.67. That is saying that this is Chapter 1, Section 2, Question 67. So if you go to Chapter 1, Section 2, and at the end of the chapter, you'll look at Question 67. This should be very similar to that question. Also in Question Help, you could say View an Example. If you click on that, it'll show you an example of a problem similar. Notice if I put them side by side, they're the same form but different numbers. And it will take you through step by step how to solve that problem. So very helpful there. The other one is Help Me Solve This. If you click on that, it'll actually walk you through this exact same problem. Once you get to the end of that, now since it just helped you through this problem, it'll change the numbers in this problem and it'll let you try it again on your own. And then of course the ultimate one, Ask My Instructor. If you click on that one, it'll send me a copy of the question and it'll give you a chance to write a little message in there. If maybe you just can't, you know the answer, you just can't figure out how to enter it in MyMathLab correctly or whatever. If you have a question on any of the homework in MyMathLab, that is the best way to contact me, because you've seen the numbers in the question can change. If you just tell me on homework 1A question 17, I have a problem. Well, when I go to question 17, I might be seeing a different question than you are. So if I hit that Ask My Instructor, it sends me a copy of the exact copy of the question you're working on, so that when I answer you, I'm using the same numbers and I'm sure that I'm answering the same question that you're working on. Now beware, do everything you can in the homework to try to avoid using these helps. I realize I just told you about them and they are a very handy tool. The reason I say try to avoid them is when you go to take the quiz, that won't be there. So I have students all the time in MyMathLab say, it seems so easy during the homework, but in the quiz, I couldn't figure it out. And the reason for that is in math, it's easy to perform the calculation. Relatively easy, I should say. The really tough part is figuring out what process needs to be done. Well, these hints, when you see View an Example, it shows you what process needs to be done. So then it's just a matter for you of plugging in the different numbers and doing it. When you're on a quiz and you don't have that and you have to figure out what is the process, what are the steps that I have to do, that's the tough part. So do everything, I recommend you do everything you can to try to do the homework without using the help questions, the help topics. We'll talk a little bit more about it when we hit grading, but your homework is graded for completeness. As long as you answered every question and put your adequate time in. In my gradebook, I can see how much time you spent on the assignment. So like this one is 41 questions. If you answered all 41 questions and I go in there and I see you spent 2.5 minutes on it, I know you didn't really put a lot of effort into it. So I might mark your grade down for that. But as long as you answer the questions and you've put an adequate amount of time into it, a reasonable amount of time into it, you get credit for the homework. Homework to me is a learning tool. That's why I have all those help topics turned on, is just to help you learn the material. I give you points just to make sure you do it, really. Then the quizzes are where you prove to me that you know it. That's really the grading tool. Okay, any questions on MyMathLab before we go back to the syllabus? Blackboard? Okay. So back to Blackboard. Make sure you get into MyMathLab. How many of you are in MyMathLab already? Is there anybody that got registered? A couple of you, good. So you're ready to jump right into the homework. Make sure you get into MyMathLab as soon as you can so that I can answer questions or help you with it in the next couple of days if you need to, because the first homework assignment is due for Monday. Like I said, there's that grace period that you can finish it up by the end of the day Tuesday, but it's better if you have it done for Monday. Let's go here to the next step then is syllabus. That is the actual syllabus for the course, my contact information, and then my schedule. As you can see, I'll pull up my schedule here. After this class, each day that I have this class, I have an office hour free. So if you need me to stick around after class to answer questions, it's just a matter of leaving the network up. This network does not shut off on its own anymore like the old network did. So we can stay in class as long as we want to keep going. If you need to contact me or need to chat with me outside of class, let me know. I can send you the link so that you can log into this system from your home computer if you like. And then we can, just like we're in class, I can answer your questions through the whiteboard and all that. But that is going to be the best time for us is right after class or on Monday right before class. If you send me a message letting me know that you need to meet early, I'll make sure I'm on the network early and we can work on stuff before class on Mondays as well. I will post out here an assignment schedule once I get everything entered into MyMathLab. It's pretty consistent. There will be a homework due basically every class and a quiz due once a week every Friday, except for weeks where we have tests. Let's go to course documents. This is where the 3 units for the course are. This class is going to be set up with 3 units and 3 tests. Unit 1 goes until October 7th, which means, of course, test 1 is on October 7th. Unit 2 goes to November 11th. So again, that'll be test 2 will be on November 11th. Those, I believe, are all Mondays, by the way, except for this last one, December 18th, will be our last test, our final test. And that will be on that last Thursday. Once we take a test, I'll explain it a little bit more, but I do allow you to redo your test to get some points back. So we'll talk about that after the test. You'll notice that each unit, you can see each day is listed out. So September 4th, here's the lesson plan. If you care to look through it, the lesson plan is there to see the topics we're covering. This is just telling you the questions. If you wanted to look in the textbook at questions that are similar to the homework or similar to what's going to be on the quiz, those questions are listed for you. I don't recommend spending a lot of time on them because you do still have to do the homework online, but if you want the extra practice, it's there. Lesson plans, so the lesson plan is linked. The lecture recording will be posted, so obviously the recording is happening right now, so it's not made yet. So once I have the recording, I will post it there for you to look at. And our homework will be homework 1A in MyMathLab, due for next week. I said technically it's due Monday, but you do have until Tuesday to submit it. And so each day is listed there. So in case you do have to miss, it will be there. I will try to have these lecture videos posted by the end of the day. Sometimes it might take until noon the next day. It does take about 20 to 30 minutes to process these videos. So it does take me a little while to get them set up and posted for you. So let's go back to the syllabus and actually look over the syllabus quick. Almost done with the administrative crap and ready to start math, I promise. So my contact information, that is my Nicolet College email address right there. thoff@nicoletcollege.edu. You can also contact me at todd.hoff@witc.edu. That might be a little quicker. I do check that email at least a couple of times a day. So if it's an emergency and you have to contact me quickly, that WITC email address is the best way to do it. This is actually the phone number for WITC Rice Lake and my extension there if you need to call. I'm very seldom in my office because I'm always in class, but feel free to leave a voicemail. That will also send a message to my WITC email, so you can get a hold of me pretty quickly that way as well. Like I said, I do try to check my Nicolet College email at least 2 or 3 times a week, but sometimes it's a little slower than the WITC one. Okay, so we're in our room, so I don't need to tell you where to meet. This is Algebra for Calculus. It looks like many of you have the textbook there. I'll just hold it up here quick. It is this big beast here, the Algebra and Trigonometry textbook. Anybody remember how expensive this one was this time around? That's, that sounds ridiculous, but it's actually not bad. Any math textbook now, any of these big math textbooks that stay under $300 is actually not too bad. Okay. No. Okay, hopefully. If you don't have your textbook and you need to get into MyMathLab, there is an option to get a temporary account. I can't remember if it's 10 days or 2 weeks that it's a trial. So you can actually start that way without the code. So you can actually get in there and do the assignment. And then when your code comes, you have to enter it in. If you don't enter it in at your 2 weeks, it shuts you out of that account. So, but you can start with a temporary account and then just continue with it once that code comes in. Okay, so other materials, you do have to have access to MyMathLab. So if you bought a used textbook, that could be one of the things you'll have to do is make sure you purchase access to MyMathLab separately. A scientific calculator. Technically, it's not required, but I don't see any way you can get through the class without one. You don't need a graphing calculator. My on-screen calculator is a graphing calculator, but we really don't need any of the graphing functions for this course. It would be handy at times, and there are some sections in the textbook where they talk about the graphing calculator. I am not going to depend on the graphing calculator in this class. Everything we do, there will be calculations done, maybe some basic trig calculations, but everything's just going to be using the scientific functions, not the graphing functions. If you don't have a calculator, or if you have a scientific calculator or graphing calculator, chances are it'll get you through the course. If you don't have one, the one that I highly recommend is the Texas Instruments TI-30. It uses the TI-30 version 2. That seems to be the simplest one to use. It does fractions and stuff like that really easily. Okay, so then the rest of this is just talking about what our course competencies are. So this is Algebra for Calculus, which is going to be a step above an intermediate algebra. Any of you that have had intermediate algebra, there will be a lot of repetition here. I'd say about 50 to 60% of the course is stuff that would have been in an intermediate algebra course, maybe covered in a little more detail, and then there's more material on top of that. Take that next step to prepare you to use this in calculus. A lot of emphasis on graphs because in a calculus course, you are dealing with functions and graphs. Scrolling down here, trying to get to the grading section. Okay, so for grading, a little bit of a bad spacing there, but homework is 5 points each. There are 27 homework assignments. So homework 1A and 1B are 2 separate homework assignments. I labeled them 1A and 1B because they're the first week, and they go with quiz 1. So that's what the A and B are for, but those are separate homework assignments. Throughout our 15 weeks, there will be 12 quizzes, and those will be 20 points each for a total of 240 points off the quizzes. The midterm exams, exam 1 and exam 2, are 100 points each. And then the final exam is 125 points. That's a total of 325 points to get us to 700 points for the course. We do go by the standard Nicolet grading scale here. So 93% and up is an A, 85 to 93 is a B, and 77 to 85 is a C, and so on. If you need to contact anybody at Nicolet about this class, my boss is Laura Wynn Norton, and that's her email address and phone number there. Of course, those are the dates and dates for our 3 units. So, of course, obviously the last day of each unit is our test. This is an important one. This was a big shock for me when I started college. In this course, they are considering this to be a post-secondary or a university level course. So you should plan on having 2 to 3 hours per week outside of class for every week that we are in class. This is a 4-credit, 4-hour-a-week course. So they're saying you should plan on 8 to 12 hours a week outside of class. That sounds like a lot of time, but it goes by quickly. So other than that, if you do have any needs, whether it's a diagnosed disability or maybe you've just always had some anxiety with math or you struggle with tests, please let me know. We can almost always find something to help make you feel better. Maybe when we take a test, you need to go to a different room so you don't have other people around you or whatever. Let me know and we'll figure something out. So the rest of this is just your administrative stuff. If you need to withdraw from the course, please make sure you talk to someone. Withdrawing can affect financial aid and other things. So make sure you talk to someone and make sure all those other things are going to be okay for you. Then, of course, those are the drop dates. If you need to drop for any reason, you can get a partial refund in the next 2 weeks. It's 80%. Then after that, for a couple weeks, it is 60%. Any questions on course procedures, grading, anything like that? Okay. So enough of that boring stuff. Let's get out of here. I am going to end the recording for